Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special night of the UK Armed Forces ACC Championship. Now, we are about to go trackside. We are not going to waste any time. We already have drivers who are jumping out there, and we are going to have much to discuss. Tonight is Kyalami. You can see it from the stream title, and we're going to go through the standings as we go through the session tonight. We are going to try and minimize the downtime, trying something a little bit different here in terms of the format. So let's actually jump straight over and see. Unfortunately, Zabby's not able to join us tonight, but we will still have a great session nonetheless. Let's see who is going to be out on top. We have a few different drivers and a few different cars to watch. 16 racers join us this evening, and the main takeaway right out the gate is that Kyalami is looking nice and beautiful. It's the middle of the day. It's looking bright, looking bushy, and Kyalami as a track never fails to disappoint. I say it's one of my favourite tracks. It's certainly up there in terms of excitement. And the big thing here is we are going to see drivers posting their initial times out on the board right now. Fastest currently goes to a Bailey Vernon Higgs, who is currently holding the pole with a 146.9. He's coming the way through Ingwe corner, final corner of the circuit. Looks like he's going to push that envelope even further. It's 46 or 42.372, making up a ton of time. So very quickly, we are going to see a lot of drivers suddenly push that envelope and try to get themselves out as soon as they can. We're also going to condense things a little bit, turn on that live speed, get a bit of sector-by-sector breakdown. 41.662 coming from David Wrench. And then Jack Simpson, who really has come alive. We saw last time out Misano, a force to be reckoned with, and it looks like he's going to be keeping that exact same momentum right here. 41.177 is the time to beat. And curiously, we don't see as many cars on track, not as many drivers. So there will be a bit of a power vacuum, a bit of a open struggle, as there will be a chance for racers to quickly push onto those standings. Speaking of said standings, let's take a bit of time and go through them now, as we have Mr. David Wrench currently leading the pack. He's going to be sat here with 82 points, just ahead of Tyrone, who isn't actually here tonight, with 77. Bailey Vernon Higgs, P3 in the championship, a P4 on the track right now, although he's pushing for another lap here. Ethan Lee got a 42.0, and will be making his way up from 9th. There will be still chances, there will still be time. Vernon Higgs up to the line now in a 41.5. That puts him in second place. We're going to have James King in P4. Not setting the world on fire just yet in that vantage, but he has got a decent points packet, as he is going to be leading on his fellow competitor Leslie in 52 points. Is he not being here? Glenberry. Don't see Glyn on the track today either in the Mercedes AMG, which means that Jack Simpson has a chance to leapfrog and get even more points. That fastest lap from last time out also doing him favours. Let's see if he can keep that momentum up here, making his way smoothly through Sunset Corner and into the clubhouse bend. You can see he's leveraging every inch of the track here. Let's take it directly on board and see how he handles that Huracan. He's pushed it down to a 40 here, 40.917. That's his current times. Looking nice and smooth. He came out Leocom corner and down to mine shot. Hopping onto the brakes, getting nice and deep into the first, and actually jumping back into second gear. Powering out, leaning on the throttle. Want a more stable platform as he comes through now. This is going to be Cheetah, and that going to be a part of the track that catches so many drivers out. Just a little bit too much push, you hop the curb, and just like that, you're out on the runoff on the outside wall. Hopefully not the wall itself, but certainly running close. Simpson's going to have a chance at another go, but his exit was compromised, so he's not going to be gaining anything heading into Crowthorne. A few more cars now making their way up to the line. Here's Matt Steele in the Ferrari. Currently 21st in the championship, but has a chance to get some points on his docket here. He's up into P7 here in quali, 42.770. 16 races adorn the track. We'll see what they can bring to the table. Craig Lua, 20th on the board, just ahead of driver we were just on board with, Steele. And not going to get a time improvement here. He is going to be in P8 for the time being. See a couple of other cars who have made a couple mistakes, so they will not be improving on their time significantly. But we will have drivers now setting better times, even if it doesn't mean points positions or positions gained. We're going to see, can Jack Simpson make up for his previous mistake? Can he get himself into the good graces? Can he master Cheetah Corner? There we go, once more. Being much more careful of the sausage curb this time. Keeping it within the track limits, if barely. And a smooth exit out of the final corner. Leacock is the hardest one to keep speed on, but Crowthorne and Ingwe are close seconds. Those exits mean everything. And Simpson gets a 40.855 out of Ingwe corner. Just carrying that speed beautifully. Last couple of chances for many before they have to rethink their approaches. Is going to be George Bial. Now making his way down. And he's going to be keeping it nice and smooth in the BMW. I mean, 9th place for him here, 42.8. Many others try to make improvements. It's going to be Palsland, the number 66 car. That's for the McLaren. He comes through the final corner now. That's going to be almost a second. In fact, I think an entire second gain there for Palsland. Just a great final sector in particular. He's going to jump himself up to P12. We'll see Dingo 200 as well have a chance to go for it. He's already a second up. He could put himself into the graces of the 42s if he's so inclined. It's all about how he manages this final sector. He's also got Jack Simpson further up ahead, potentially pushing for an even faster pole time. Comes up to the final corner now. Jack Simpson is going to go from 40.8 to a 48.862. He loses time in the final corner. Will Dingo make the same mistake? No, in fact, he's going to go even better. Great time gain, 44.5. Now becomes a 43.3. He's going to leapfrog Palsland. And even if it isn't a massive position gain, the time is immense. Leacock corner for now. Palsland going for another attempt. Runs a little bit wide on the exit and down into mineshaft. Not quite there. But he is still running evens on his delta. Tiny bit up, but it could go either way. Slightly wide on the exit from the Crocodiles. Now for Cheetah. Get that car rotated. Avoid that internal sausage curb. Well managed. Final now. A little bit wide on the apex. Can't power out as much as you want to. Still an improvement. Is it enough for P12? It's not. It's a 10th and a half down from Dingo's time. Not going to get the improvement he seeks. It's Gladwell in the Lexus. Now coming up, will he also seek improvement and fortune on the timing board? 44.7. It's half a tenth down from Craig Fitton. But sadly, he will be walking away with no positions gained this time. I do feel for Jack Simpson, he was seven milliseconds short of a time. And he's still got pole, but it's not going to be by the landslide he was hoping for, at least not yet. Here's BL once again, piloting that BMW M4. A nice and smooth approach here is everything. It's going to be a nice final corner. A little bit of time gained in the prior section. And 42.8 becomes a 42.4. So he's going to jump up into P7. Nicely done, George. Well done. At this point, nobody is making a major improvement. We are, in fact, seeing a little bit of traffic issues. Whoa, looks like that was a little bit of a sketchy one. I think that was Matt Steele. Yes, indeed, that was. So not everyone is having the best of luck. But here's Gladwell into Cheetah Corner. Smooth approach. Is going to be under a serious amount of pressure, as that is going to be one of the McLarens behind Gladwell. Into P14, as just behind him is a certain David Wrench. Making his way now down for another attempt. Side note, love the livery. Also love the SRC reference on the bonnet there. Very nice stuff. Really enjoying some of the visual design of some of these cars. We have got a couple of new liveries debuting on the track tonight as well, so I've been told. There will be a bit more visual flair making its way to the track. There you go, here's Wrench trying to make good on the previous time. Vernon Higgs improves by about a tenth. He's going to get 41.387 here, but it's not enough to jump up on position. Not yet, anyway. Looks like we have the nick of time. We've got Glenn Burry coming in with 10 minutes to go left on the qualifying session, so he will have a chance to place. Vernon Higgs, Ethan Lee into the pits. Lua, Dingo, Gladwell all in as well. Not going for a shot just yet, Wrench. Will he be able to connect it all together? He's slightly up. Remember, he needs to make 0.4 of a second if he wants to even come in with striking distance of Jack Simpson's pole time currently. Very wide on the exit Cheetah Corner, but still keeping it legal as he comes through the final now. Near perfect line through that final corner. 41.252, or 257 to beat. It's a 41.282. Just shy. Improvement on Sector 2, but just not enough to bring it home. Sad to say. An improvement from Craig Fitton, 44.255. That's going to get him into 14th position. But there's Peter Davidson as well in the number 72 with a substantial gain. And he's going to get himself all the way into P5. What a run there. 42.2. Excellent stuff there. That is going to be Peter Davidson, Royal Navy. Beautiful. Beautiful lap. That's the kind of improvement we want to see. Drivers pushing their limits, giving it absolutely everything, and leaving nothing to chance. Sure victory. Personal victory is a victory nonetheless. And none is more true than the many drivers who have made up seconds compared to their initial times. And Alexis Simpson, who has had a bit of a second wind and a reawakening following Misano. Previously in midfielder, and now really taking the gloves off. Coming up to the line, 40.902, so half a tenth down. Did have glimmers of hope. You can see best Sector 2 that they've had all session, but just couldn't connect that up with a rough first and third sector. Also, we're going to see Glenn as well now heading onto the track, setting himself up. He's going to have a little bit of a troubling time getting his bearings and orienting himself. There's Matt Steele just behind. Bit of time on the boards, but is enough to get a position. Remember, P9 stands now, and he is going to get into P8. 42.3. That's just enough to pass George B out. Similar fate beholds Peter Davidson. Not content with over a second gained on the previous run. He's going to make it through and now make it a whole half a second faster still. No positions this time, but he's really brought himself close to Ethan Lee. I think he ought to be a little bit worried, Lee. So we've got the number 72 that seems to be on a mission. A real mission to get themselves potentially into the top 3. Jack Lemon. Unfortunately, just invalidates out of cheetah corner. Takes it a bit too wide. Tail as old as time, that one. And we even see a bit of a incident, it looks like, as I think Jack Simpson barely dodged out of a attempt. We see James King getting a 42.7. So he's going to get himself into P10 comfortably. Simpson is just on full attack mode. You can see in the background even. He's just not going to let that one go. Because he is more than determined to get that pole time even higher. King is on his own improvement. But here comes Glynn. Glynn is going to get his first official time on the boards, and it's a 42.3. That's enough for 8th position, and a very impressive 8th position at that. Very nicely done for the number 87. A few racers still looking for opportunity, looking for chances, as the field is ever evolving, ever changing. See Lemon closely followed by King. There is also a bit of a proximity problem. We've seen Peter Davidson, who was behind Ethan Lee. Luckily, Lee's bowing out into the pit. But it looks like for a split second that there was a major proximity issue. Ooh, looks like James King. Oh, James King losing the car. Right, let's rewind and see exactly from a bit more of a perspective what happened here. See exactly how this one goes down. So, making his way fairly smooth into the Crocodiles. Sets himself up with a good exit line. Now up into Cheetah Corner. And, yep, you see right there, just catches that sausage curb. And loses the rear. That's all she wrote, unfortunately. There you go. King is going to have a chance to go again, but here comes Craig Fitton up to the line. 44.2. What will it be after this? 43.6. No position, but much closer to Powsland on the boards. You're going to have Peter Davidson as well, now coming up to the infamous corner. The one that has claimed so many quality laps already. Looks like he's kept it together, but looks like that's David Wrench. That is Wrench sideways, having made a similar mistake, and it had forced evasive action. Unfortunately, it forced evasive actions to prevent an absolute disaster. Davidson 41.680 by skin of teeth. Is Jack Simpson coming out Lukop corner, down through Mine Shaft and into the Crocodiles. There we go, nicely managed into the final corner there. Could this be a new best time? 40.710. Masterwork coming in from Jack Simpson. Absolute masterwork. I really don't know how else to explain this. Got Ryan Worley as well coming in with a beautiful time. 41.930. So solid run and solid work there. We're going to have Fitton with a pit in. So that is going to bring the end to their run. And then final attempts are going to be coming through from the drivers now. 3 minutes remaining. There isn't much time left on the clock. Time is truly of the essence here. It really will be crunch hour. Let's see, we're just on board observing James King right now. I gotta say, this driver right here, King, he's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of potential to make some big waves in this championship here. Exploit the vacuum that is Tyrone not being present tonight. Get some points on the board, and you could all of a sudden slingshot yourself into the conversation at the top 3. Because there is certainly the pace. He's had a fastest lap. He's had the chance to show what he's made of. Got the right stuff, just needs to bring it all together. Well, it may not be his best suit here, but there is a chance. Coming up to the line, up into P9. 2 milliseconds faster than Matt Steele. So, barely squeezing the advantage. And edging out the competition. A successful run from King. It is officially last run territory now. If you are not out on track by this point, you are done. So that is going to be curtains on a Jack Simpson, Ryan Worley, Dingo, Houseland, and Gladwell. I imagine that it will also be final runs for many, as they won't necessarily see the improvements that they desire. You may see that pit indicator come up more and more. Let's see, here's David Wrench. He's getting caught out previously on Cheetah, not making the same mistake twice. Comes up to the line. No improvement, unfortunately. 0.525, but this is the setup lap. Now it's time for the real lap, as Bailey Vernon Higgs is going to be in his wake. Will be last chances coming out. Gladwell Farrier as well, now in the pits. Worley and Lee both. Last chances for many. There's going to be a bit of an incident coming out, it looks like, as there is Matt Steele going off the track and just rejoining. See Wrench and Vernon Higgs roughly running equal on their deltas. But that is time. You can see right there, the final clock is ticking. It's last chances for the racers to get their laps in and get something on the board. If they're running low on their time or they've invalidated, they might as well come back into the pits and facilitate a smooth transition onto the circuit once more. Vernon Higgs and Wrench both pushing the limits. Both of them getting a little bit of advantage, but losing it quickly in Lucop corner. In fact, Vernon Higgs is slightly down on his deltas here. We're going to see Jack Lemon heading into the pits. And Steele already in. Fitton, I think, is going to commit to his final lap. Although it is a second down, so I don't know if that's going to necessarily be expedient. Glyn into the pits. That's Glenn Berry. Making a last-minute appearance and going in to P8. Very nicely done. Vernon Higgs into the pits as well, so it's just Wrench with a chance to really strike up and get a good lap in. 41.1 is an improvement, but not enough to improve on the time itself. Fitton getting across the line, but no improvement on position or timing there, so it's just Peter Davidson left. And then we will get a full track walk going ahead of tonight's race. We are crossing the line there. There's Peter Davidson. Any improvements here? 41.580. And that is all she wrote. Nicely done there. And just like that, the session is concluded. It's Jack Simpson who takes the top honours and takes things to the pole, as we have David Wrench just next to him, followed by Bailey Vernon Higgs in P3 to finish up the podium. Rounding off row 2 is going to be Peter Davidson. And as we get our timing boards now set up fully, it will be a chance to get the racers out in their best performing positions. Just activating all the settings, and then the race is going to go ahead. Row 3 is going to go to Ethan Lee in the number 63 and Ryan Worley in the number 30. The Colonel rap. I do love it. Clemon and Glenberry complete your 4th row in the number 91 and number 87 cars, followed closely by James King in the 23 and Matt Steele in the number 16. Then to your second half of the grid, the remaining 7 racers is George Biel in the number 74 BMW, Craig Luer in the number 13 Ferrari, Dingo in the 938 Army Esports, McLaren, George Pousland in the number 66 McLaren as well, and then you have Craig Fitton, Mark Gladwell and Matt Farrier finally in the Beamer. I'll say it's going to be a good race out here today. Now, Kyalami is one of my favourites. I have been very vocal about this in previous rounds and current. Kyalami is a track that holds a pretty soft spot for me, so I will never complain about its appearance on a calendar. And with that, I will never complain about the quality of racing. Hopefully we see said quality of racing at the same time today, as there will be a lot on the line here. For a bit of a lull in performance in terms of attendance, there is opportunity for those that remain. It's 1 PM local, track is nice and hot, 20 degrees ambient and 27 degrees track surface. That's going to mean we have a very, very near perfect balance between heat management, the thermals, cooling, and getting the heat into the rubber of your tyres in an efficient way. We really have got near ideal track conditions tonight, folks. We are going to see something special. Let's see, will there be a chance for Wrench to get himself even further in the championship lead? 5 points to Tyrone, but that will easily grow tonight if all goes well. Could we see Vernon Higgs take advantage and bring himself close to the head of the championship if he can get ahead of Wrench? Will we see Simpson leapfrog even more cars in the Huracan and potentially get himself into the conversation for the title? Or will there be something even more out of left field? I mean, we've seen Peter Davidson do immaculately in this quali session. He could jump up into the top 10 by all accounts. Here's to hoping that we see some fireworks either way, as this is going to be a heck of a race night. It is also worth mentioning that we are officially at the halfway point of the season. We will be in the second half after tonight, and that is going to be a big factor in who is really still in the championship versus who could be considered out of contention. Well, 6 races deep, you're going to be hedging your bets at this point and who you want to see winning that title. But there isn't really any way that you can shy from what's about to go down. Time to make it happen. Time to see who will have the last laugh, who will take the edge for tonight, and who is going to be the one to take it all. Final order. Simpson leads, Wrench close by, as we're going to drop speeds. Get everyone in double file, ready for race start, ready for formation. Here we go, everyone. Just trying to get some heat into those tyres so that their first laps are as smooth as can be. We're on board with the helicopter to capture as much of the action as we can, of course. Simpson trying to get some heat into those brakes as well with the start-stop procedure. Although, got to be a bit careful, as you may upset some of the drivers behind you if you do that. The track is hot. Round 6 of the UK Armed Forces ACC Championship race control, about to give the green light at any second now. Coming up to the line, and let's go racing once more. Here we are, green light, and the racing is on. Simpson already on the defensive. That's going to be Wretch trying to go for the outside line, trying to stretch the ideal. Looks like he got a slightly better launch as well. Simpson's not going to have it. He's going to block that apex. Vernon Higgs as well, trying to get his teeth in. There's a slice of the pie. There is chaos, though, further down, as that is going to be a spun car. That is going to be, I believe, Glyn Berry. That contact was pitting them completely out of the order and getting themselves into a bit of bother, which we will, of course, review in a moment. Davidson trying to get an advantage, chasing onto the back of Pausland. He's got a bit of cosmetic damage. Rick Fitton is also waiting in the distance, but attacking each other through sunset. A little bit of argy-bargy. He's sweeping their way. Davidson on the left. Pausland is going to be on his right, a little bit too far onto the left, as that is Davidson down into the gravel. I believe there was contact between the two cars leading to that, so we can of course review in due time. His wrench onto Simpson now, keeping the pressure high. Swooping his way, going for a bit of a switchback, or at least attempt at one into the Crocodiles, into Cheetah Corner. Single file. You do not go too wide on Cheetah Corner. It's as simple as that. If you think you can overtake, you don't. No two ways about it. Let's see, good first lap from some of the front runners. And we do see a lot of chopping and changing towards the bottom end. Davidson under a lot of pressure. Glenberry trying to get some recovery time and push the boundaries. Looks like he's recovered and caught up quite nicely, in fact. And while we got that, let's take a bit of a review and see exactly what happened. So this is on board with the helicopter. This is the race start. Glenberry, original start position of P8, I believe. Now making their way into the first corner. You can see stays around the middle of the circuit. There's Davidson braking a little bit earlier, just trying to get it around the nose, getting caught on that McLaren, and oh, completely going over. I was not expecting that. Either way, they were dropped down to the bottom and are making quite a strong recovery, but there's an issue. There is an issue. There's Simpson. We have lost Simpson out of nowhere. I think he... Did he disconnect? Well, yes, he's disconnected. We've completely lost Simpson. A major technical issue there, clearly. As something has gone disastrously wrong for the Huracan, and what looked like a second race on the trot has quickly become a technical nightmare. What a couple of moments as well. So let's jump on board with the TV cams and see exactly what's happened earlier on. So this was a heated battle between Pausland and Davidson. So you can see, oh yeah, just a bit of contact. You can see the jolt on Pausland's car. And now Davidson down to the bottom. Let's drop to the bottom of the milk. He now has a lot of work to do to get himself back into good graces of the field. Is Dingo on the back of James King. Just trying to assert a bit of pressure. King is, of course, going to hold his ground on the defense. And we'll be seeing a hefty amount of fight as the field is going to still be fairly close together. We do in fact see a bit of a mistake coming out from Gladwell, so Craig Lewis is going to take advantage. Here's Peter Davidson as well, going for a bit of an overtake, coming out into Clubhouse Bend. Nicely done from the McLaren. He's got certainly a hunger for the position, and even if he's dealing with a bit of aero damage, you can see on the splitter cam that splitter is barely hanging on. It's lucky to be considered attached. It will still be a fighting chance. It's steel as well. First 5 minutes, we've already had a fair bit of excitement. Hit window is officially open as well, folks, so any damage at this point can be repaired should the drivers see fit. Although I imagine if it's minor, then they will be holding on to the damage and then getting all of the pit's work done in one hit, rather than having to deal with any other problems. There's going to be a real fire in the belly of many. Is Davidson, for example, he's wanting to get back onto the positions. He's already got past Simpson and Gladwell. Oh wait, no, Simpson is back on track. Or at least back in the pit lane. Because he had that disconnection earlier. And we're trying to see if we can get him back into the race. Although it is a serious disadvantage. But that really is an unfortunate turn of events for him. He did look like, by all accounts, he had this in the bag. And one could have made a similar argument to that of the previous. Either way, Davidson's still on the hunt. Very much on the aggress. As there will be potential for him to get back into it. My only concern is that he overdrives the car. If he does that, he's going to land himself in a lot of trouble. There'll be no chance for him to really get recourse. If he makes a mistake, it's game over. Here's Glynn going for an attack now. This time on Matt Farrier. Going to be the battle of the two. And ooh, something has gone very wrong for Farrier. That we just saw there. That was him heading completely out of Cheetah Corner. Let's jump on board with a helicopter and see exactly, as a replay, what happened there. So here's Matt Farrier. Goes wide, has Glenberry on the attacking side. He does tuck in though. He knows he can't go past on Cheetah. But there you go. Classic. Getting caught by the sausage curb. Just avoiding the wall, to his credit. Done very well to avoid the wall there. But yeah, Simpson is going to likely be a driver that stays in the pit lane. Been in there for 4 minutes now. Unlikely to see him return to the track, even if he returned to the lobby. Looking smooth and smart. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Wrench now. Wrench is in an interesting predicament. He has Vernon Higgs on his tail, but this is his chance to really, like we were saying earlier, assert his dominance in the championship. One false move and that script is flipped. Vernon Higgs gets the slingshot into the championship fight and gets Wrench on the defensive rather than the offensive. This is going to be a crucial race for him. We'll have everything on the line in terms of the championship setup, and this is going to leave the second half of the season with a bit of a question mark. Glynn onto the back of Powsland now, trying to get himself at least back into the top 10. Running real hot. Powsland having to go a little bit defensive on the inside. Sweeping his way. Oh, he's on the attack, but he just can't make a decisive move yet. This is the issue that a lot of drivers are going to face as we get things underway. It's not necessarily not having the pace. It's about being able to create that space for yourself and decisively attack onto your opponent. Without being unfair, of course, racing rules notwithstanding. There will be opportunity, but it's about exploiting, opening up that gate of opportunity. Oh, you can see there's really... The elbows are being stuck out. The teeth are being bared. Glyn is going to get it round. Bit of a switchback going through there on Powsland. Nicely done. Was there going to be any counter? Here comes Powsland down the inside. Very deep there. Really taking a bit too much speed, as that's just going to keep the door wide open. The Mercedes, immediate retake on the corner. Just a tiny bit of overcommitment. That's going to be a tough one to bear, as Powland's now definitively behind Glyn. Oh, here we go. Here's Peter Davidson as well. This mid-pack is really where the action seems to be at. Davidson, of course, making a bit of a surge of his own. And, oh no, just a bit too much on the exit out of Crowthorne. That's a brutal one there. Let's take a look from the heli and see exactly what happened once more. You see there is going to be Powsland. And, oh, looks like there was a bit of contact, actually. But who would you chalk that one up to? As you can see, there was consistently keeping to lines. I'd argue Davidson did close the door on him a little bit when many drivers expect to sort of peel a bit to the left to prepare for Juksai sweep. But there we go. Let us know what you think in that live chat. Who would be the fault in that incident? Who would be the one more at fault than the other? Apologies, folks. Just trying to solve a technical issue in the background. Apologies if there is a little bit of keyboard rattle. Unfortunately, I have a very loud mechanical keyboard, so it's not always ideal for a broadcast setup. Should look into a silent one. Ooh, Powsland is getting a little bit unstuck there, to the point where he brings out a local yellow. Nicely done. So we do have Simpson out of the session. That has been confirmed now. That means that we are affirmatively down to 16 competitors. And with that, we will have a chance for us to go proper racing. Matt Steele having a bit of a issue with the car, it seems. It seems like he's struggling to keep that thing under control. He's caused a couple of yellows in pretty quick succession, as well as, of course, the major chaos that we saw at the start. But we will have a lot of fireworks coming in from the mid-pack, I believe, as things will get underway into this next crucial phase of the race. We're coming up to 15 minutes on time. And with that, the paradigm shifts ever so slightly. James King is going to capitalise on some of the mistakes that have been made by others. It is going to be George on the defence right now. And King is not going to be wasting the opportunity. King is really on the hunt here. Fitton is having a issue with the car, it seems. Let's wind the clocks back a little bit, as it seems like he's limping that thing more than he is racing it. See, taking a lot of speed loss. Glenn practically getting by effortlessly and barely able to control that car. There seems to be a major issue there with him being able to pilot that McLaren. It's almost tough to watch, as there will be a recovery needed from him. It sounds like at least he's able to... Oh no, just as we say that. He was holding a good enough line, and oh, comes on back to the track, barely avoiding instant. Gladwell's going to have to go into the grass. That is not good. Gladwell forced into a compromising situation and into the wall. Not sure where the game plan is with Fitton right now. He needs to get that car back into the pits. He needs to do it now, as he's just caused effectively an incident. They still himself having a bit of up and down, and sort of throughout all the midst of this, just trying to keep consistent. Same with Pausland. Managed to get into P11. Yeah, Fitton needs to get that car into the pits. It looks like he's on the... He's being controlled by the car rather than the other way around. And look at it, so beat up. He's not so much driving it as he is being passenger in its own right. Eventually, there we go, retiring it to the pit lane. Volatile situation now under control. King losing a bit of time to Jack Lemon there, as he's taking a little bit of a slide on the tail. Actually getting quite sideways. I know you can take a little bit of slip angle to help you push through corners, but that's a bit much. That's a manoeuvre that I'd somewhat expect out of the Porsches, if anything. Those Porsches with their slightly rearward bias, they do lend themselves to a bit of a precarious angle, but slip angle nonetheless if you can tame it. King's still on the hunt. You can even see a bit of a push. A bit of a riser in disguise. Bit of a rise in disguise there. Steele is actually moving his way off the field in a decent pace. Pausland is under pressure from this Ferrari. Oh, we can see a report there. It is going to be confirmed via the live chat. Fitton's steering was broken. So he is going to be jumping in, getting those repairs underway, and hopefully joining us on the track ASAP once again. We have a pit stop coming in from Davidson. Ooh, Pausland with a big slide. And Steele is going to capitalise on that mistake. We will just get a bit of a replay on the helicopter. Of course. Get all the camera angles possible. Relish the moment. You can see here, Steele on the inside and a little bit of contact, but there's not really much places that he could move to. It was a bit of a racing incident there. Coming off of a mistake from Pausland, although it looks like Pausland has taken the move back in the time that it's taken for us to look at the replay. So maybe a similar mistake from the Ferrari has lent it back. Either way, Steele's not going to let this one go lying down. He's in fact going to poke his nose heading into Lukop corner. Usually we see it on the other side. So Steele still on the hunt, going very deep into the crocodiles here, really gripping onto the apex. Holding the line as best as he possibly can. Pausland is going to still get out ahead, but I think at this point it's just about the disruption. It's about getting under his skin. Just trying to get something to upset his balance. Even so, King is now back on the hunt as well. He's caught up to Jack Lemon in the number 91 Ferrari. A good send here, or a good placement of the car here, could really upset these two. As we see Pausland and Steele continue to duel it out. And oh, big slide coming in from Steele there. Just too much. A little bit too much on Barbecue. That is all she wrote, unfortunately. He's going to drop not only to Pausland, but to Farrier and Lua as well, as he has to quickly recover himself. Meanwhile, back to the front. Wrench is going to be in a relatively calm position for the time being. 2.2 seconds away from Vernon and Higgs, but both of them running around equal with the 42.1s. There's only a couple of tenths in it between these two, and they really are maintaining a sense of equilibrium. We're going to see a couple of yellow flags coming out, as that is going to be Mr. Gladwell. Let's jump on board with the helicopter and turn back the clocks. So, making his way out and into S is here. Oh, bit of a slide. Luckily caught it and staying out of the way of Peter Davidson. So, crisis averted there. Very luckily so. Gonna be Ryan Worley as well. Going on the push. See, Worley is now onto something good, as he's within a second of Ethan Lee. A good next couple of laps here, and he could get himself on the podium. Just about how he links up this next part of the course. Mulberry up into P9 now, back in it. He's going to be chasing Dingo down for a position. Session is his to command at this point, as he has made a lot of up and downs, but he's already advanced his way through half the field and is looking like a real force. It's almost as if he's taken the energy from Simpson. That cataclysmically powerful run from him last time out, and up until this race where he disconnected, continuing that momentum. He's channeled it into himself. Let's see who has this onto a winner here. Glynn is still on the chase. Pausland heading into the pits, so jumping a little bit ahead of the others. We have 36 minutes to go, so there will still be chances for drivers to upset the order via strategy. Gladwell is also going to be heading in this lap, coming on to lap 13. Again, bit of deviation, bit of split. Worley is closing in to Ethan Lee ever faster, and he's just trying at this point. You can see he's taking some alternative lines just to try and get himself onto a bit of a attacking position. There's going to be Matt Steele, unfortunately losing the car through the first corner. I think he spun that one there. And let's turn back the clocks one more and see exactly what happened here. See, Berry is on the hunt for Dingo's position, and ooh, yep, classic Luckily, no traffic around him, able to quickly recover. Here we go, Berry out through the final corner on the back of Dingo. Still chasing and still holding strong. So really starting to get a little bit of the elbows out. I think this is where we start to see things really push. Same goes with Wally. He's teetering on the half-second barrier. Teetering on that edge, that knife edge. How's he going to play this one? Let's find out. Wally still running close, but he's not actually going for a decisive move as of yet. It's not quite going to be there. He's not got the proximity just yet, although every lap he reels himself in just that little bit closer. And that's going to be the ticket that he needs. The sign of things to come. As we do have Wally briefly going off of the second mark. But we also have some fights reigniting. Glyn on the side of Dingo now, barely not able to hold side by side, although I think he yielded off owing to cheetah corner. I think a wise move going into this section. Field is going to be converging in a couple of different places now. Couple of points of convergence. Berry, Wally, Lua, you could argue as well on Farrier. We can see those gaps. There is still chances here. The session is going to hit a relative lull. One question still remains, which is regarding this championship. Who will be on top heading into this next round? Wrench is peeling a little bit more of a gap. There's a little bit more of a gap being peeled out. And oh no! Mistake out of Cheetah. That is going to be a time loss for sure. That's a second being dropped. A second being dropped. And Vernon Higgs is going to be gaining. That's going to be a little knock to the confidence there, I think, for Wrench, and that's the last thing he needs. There isn't quite going to be a chance yet. Let's see what has been in the tank. Let's check in with a couple of other drivers at the same time, as Glyn is going to be trying to chase down Dingo still. James King has ignited a bit of a fight. See, King is going to try and chase down to Jack Lemon. There's going to be Powsland lap down. Let's see how this plays out. Glyn has managed to get past Dingo through Lukop corner. And let's see what these racers have in store. As I think a couple of bites are about to come to pass. There's going to be Dingo into the pits. There's going to be Bailey into the pits. Ethan Lee as well, although looking pretty beat up in that BMW. That's going to be a big question mark as the session is going to cross that halfway point. There will be a chance for things to get interesting. Ooh, bit of a wobble from Lee. Bit of a wobble there. Okay, so this is where we currently stand. Farrier just heading into the pits. Simon Kelly has joined the lobby mid-race. So I'm not sure exactly how that one's playing out. And let's see what's going on with the rest of them. James King heading into the pits. He's going to be diverging himself from that fight. Glyn Berry as well, going to be jumping through. So a majority of the field is looking to go for the optimal strategy. It's about halfway through each. And it will be a fairly even strat. This is the best that you can get in terms of just raw balance and raw just efficiency. You are carrying the lowest weight for the longest period of time where possible, and we will be having that come to pass. So King and Berry do have a chance to really upset the order a little bit here when they come out, depending on where they come out. Craig Lewis now heading into the pits too. Apologies as well if there have been a couple of ups and downs. There have been a couple of hiccups in the background, and well, hopefully hasn't affected the front side viewing experience. There's just little process issues on the back end that needed to be sort of resolved and tended to. Apologies if the commentary hasn't quite been there for some points, as well as not having my trusty co-com with me. Either way, we'll keep the action hot, and you know where we should be watching. We should see where David Wrench is currently sat, because he's in the pits. Now, this interesting conundrum is going to resolve itself in one of two ways. Option one is that Vernon Higgs is going to remain behind. The pit timing is not going to be effective of him in the situation that he's currently at. Option two is that Wrench is going to gain either more time or be overtaken. But it doesn't look like that is going to be the case. In fact, Wrench seeming to have gotten a lot of time open. And now will be not just ahead, but ahead by a significant margin. 15.5 seconds to be exact, as Jack Lemon heads into the pits, meaning only 3 drivers remain to do so. There is a stop and go for the number 77 cars that was cleared for Fitton earlier on, and so that is why he's currently sat in, well, 16 laps down. There we go. We also have Ethan Lee, who may be gaining a little bit of time. James King is just going to come up alongside Jack Lemon as he comes out of the pits. Great intersection of the fight here between the two. There will be a chance to give it everything. And looks like King has managed to get the move up on Lemon. See, Wrench has made a bit of gains now that Worley and Lee have headed in. It's only George BL that remains. Only currently George BL that remains in this pitless position. Where are Lee and Worley going to come out, though? Lee's going to be ahead of Worley. P4 and P5. Where is James King right now? He's just coming up to Cheetah Corner, so he's not going to be gaining an advantage out here. See a bit of a slide coming in for Wrench as he's feeling the pressure. Vernon Higgs has gained a second. This is where the majority of the fight is going to be transitioning to now. It's all about how the fighters on the track are able to manage their timings. Vernon Higgs isn't really in the same proximity to where it's a tangible fight that we can watch per se, but it's about watching those deltas, watching those gaps, those timings. That's going to be everything here. That is going to be what matters. See, King is out of the pits following a second pit stop, so that is due to a stop and go penalty that he had to clear. And, oh, that is not meant to happen. There we go, we're just going to see how Dingo is getting on briefly. Looks like he has got a bit of space now. Craig Lewis got 1.1 seconds. Let's see, there's Craig Lower and currently hunting for his space. He's got 2 seconds to make up to James King. Now, King, with that stop and go penalty, is going to be in a precarious spot. And more curiously, he's going to be dealing with multiple racers around him in different phases of their own race. Okay, take, for example, Wrench. Wrench is currently sat on the back of the BMW. I believe that is Farrier. So Farrier is, of course, going to be respecting the blue flags and has to yield a safe position when possible. Although it doesn't look like he's going to be giving it up so cleanly. Going to have a little bit of fun with Wrench before such things come to pass. It's going to be Vernon Higgs getting himself up into P2, his true position, as it will be currently 13.7 seconds away from Wrench. Short of any major mistakes, I would say that Wrench has this one in a fairly comfortable spot. It's a little bit naughty there. But nonetheless, it's given us a little bit of interest, a little bit of excitement. As we are trackside for a thinly populated race, unfortunately. But that does mean, as we said in qualifying, opportunity for those who are on the track to be able to get a bit of a wiggle on. Nicely done. Navigating, negotiating a bit of traffic. So, barrier is going to be on the back foot heading into this one. Do have a brief incident coming in from the number 16 car getting reported. Oh, looks like there's a bit of impact there from Davidson. We have two main areas right now. Glyn and Lure. Two cars with a chance of bringing it together. There is a chance here to make some magic happen. But there will still be a chance for many as well. Take, for example, Davidson. He's P14 right now, but he could get a move done on Gladwell with a bit of time. See, Davidson is closing into Gladwell right now as we speak. There will be an opportunity, there will be a chance to really show Barama what is going on here. It looks like we do have two battles on our hands. We have Dingo as well, who is having to deal with a bit of an attack. That's going to be Glyn with a masterful overtake. Glyn is just off. Glyn is off with it. Really is just taken off like a rocket. Gladwell being overtaken by Davidson as well. And then Steele is... Steele is not having the best of races. He's had a few offs at this point. And you know what? I do feel for him. I really do feel for a guy because he has had some ups and downs this session. He's certainly got the pace to be in that mid-pack, but it's just the consistency. The consistency has betrayed him. At this stage, I think the main thing that he would want to focus on here is just ensuring that whatever happens, he brings the car home. And you never know, consistent finish could bring him even just a couple of points. Because we're seeing how many drivers are struggling and trying to push the envelope at Kyalami as hard as they are. Let's see what Lua can do here. He's on the back of Farrier. He's also got one of the McLarens breathing down his neck. He's very hungry for a position, it looks like, as that is a certain Vernon Higgs. And Vernon Higgs is trying his best to close in and hunt down for spots. Hunt down the time, more importantly. He's lost time to Wrench, about 3.5 seconds. But now will be a crucial moment. Will he be able to get around the number 13? There's going to be Lua trying to chase on Farrier, but it's just not happening. Looks like we did have another casualty of Cheetah Corner. This time it's going to be Jack Lemon, and that is going to open the door for Glyn Berry to go through and take yet another position. I'm going to say this is one of the main highlights of this race by far. It's the opportunity being afforded to Wrench and Higgs to jump into some championship points, as well as Wrench extending his lead, but it's also about Glyn and how big he's able to make a leapfrog. Lua is still on the back of Farrier, though. He's not going to let such a thing as traffic deter him. There will be a chance yet for the race to go in his favour. Farrier is proving to be a bit of an iron wall, a bit of an opponent. He's struggling to get round. The sentence here is dire, as right now he's not making much headway. Lua is still going to be stuck in a proverbial purgatory. Farrier not letting him go. We could see some movement around the field as well. Here's going to be Worley, for instance. He's trying to chase Ethan Lee down. It looks like there has been an issue and a brief off for Lua. Let's find out exactly what happened there. Going to be on the replay, so remember, chasing down the Beamer. And oh yeah, just a bit of lift off oversteer. Luckily, no walls and no major issues. See, Gladwell is another one who's had a bit of a rough time here. He's certainly had his ups and downs this race, but it seems like he's not been able to really get the wrangle down on that Lexus and really push the speed like he wants. We're coming up to the final 10 minutes now. And for many, this doesn't mean much. But it's for those who are still in decent proximity to other cars where they need to make a decision, a snap judgment, and decide if they're going to fight or if they're going to stay. Remember, their positions here could be deciding parts in their future championship campaign as we cross over to the second half of the season. So there could be a lot at stake where it comes to their future efforts and their future campaign. And we'll tell you one driver who has got it set, Wrench, and to the similar extent Higgs. They have got their campaigns fairly set because King down in P9 isn't going to be a championship threat in the way that I think that they are foreseeing. I mean, you do have a couple of other cars who will serve to upset that status quo. We were going to have Simpson until his untimely disconnection. But there is still going to be a chance to see these drivers out on top. And I do think that a lot of drivers still have yet to have their day. They fully have their day. For many, this might be a bit of a miss in terms of rounds. That's the other thing. The racers can sometimes have their good days and their bad days. Now, I wouldn't put it past anyone to say that their best racers are still ahead of them. I think there is plenty of potential on this field. I think we are absolutely going to see more and more drivers start to come out of the shell. I mean, look at Simpson. He's the model example of a driver that can find their footing and transform. As we do have a bit of a replay going on, we did have a flag come up for Matt Steele, just seeing exactly what that is. See, ooh, there's Cheetah Corner, classic area, but no wall. Good recovery. Steele, very good recovery. Lua is going to be on the hunt once again on Farrier. Gonna chance it looks like. He's coming out mineshaft and he's gonna chance the space into the corner. Ooh, risky move there, Craig. But I respect it nonetheless. I absolutely respect it. What a showing. Good attack, good attack. Great stuff there. Oh, looks like we had a little bit of formatting hiccup. Apologies there. Should be now fixed. But no, right. Impressive stuff. Going to be an aggressive run here. Barrier is going to be a thorn in Craig's side, but as far as Craig Lua is concerned, he got the move. Now we are coming up to the final minutes of the pit window, and that means speak now or forever hold your wheels, effectively. There will not be chances to go into that pit lane again unless there is critical damage or you present an active danger to the racetrack. Those will be the only scenarios where you can head back into the pit lane. We will also have a little bit of traffic issues as Farrier is currently in a bit of an awkward spot. He's got another car in between himself and his main rival. Blue flags are waving up and down. is going to be the other BMWs, one of the other BMWs out on the course currently. A little wobble for Jack Lemon. Yeah, that's Ethan Lee in P3 right now, who is crusading through these other two cars on the field current. There's going to be a bit of a chance here. Going to be a chance for a push, as Lee has got a bit of his own pocket of the course to himself, and many other drivers can actually say the same now. Short of inter-lap traffic.
Pit window is closing now.
Yeah, so the pit window is now closed now, ladies and gentlemen. I repeat, the pit window is now closed. So, this is the final dash. This is make or break. It's going to be a tough call for many as they decide whether they want to push forward. Now, I foresee a little bit of fight left in Farrier. See a little bit of fight left in him. I think we are going to see a bit more coming from him at this point. I don't think that he's out for the count. There will still be a major component of the championship. Let's see what this is going to yield. I will tell you who has had some major wins here. You've got Worley currently in P4. You've got Glynn in P6. You've got, let's say, Lemon as well, who has had a bit of a wobble at points in the circuit, but has still held its firm ground and held strong in P7. There are a lot of wins to take away, even if for some there have been a couple of hiccups and mistakes. And I see the live chat erupting in happiness for Worley here. P4, and I mean, in a paint like that, absolutely beautiful, beautiful stuff. We've got 2 laps left on the clock. I mean, likewise, we also see a bit of up and down, but still fighting forward. It is going to be Matt Steele. He's going to challenge on Pausland as much as he can in these last 2 laps. KFC car is indeed making the rounds. And what a beautiful sight to behold that it is. It really is something special right there. And it will be... I don't think it will be the last time we see a beautiful car like that adorning our circuits. So here we go. Matt is going to be challenging on Pausland, still getting very close here. As the leader is about to start the final lap of the race. We are 34 laps deep into Kyalami. We're about to start the 34th lap here anyway. And that is where it is going to reside. Yep, final push. You heard it yourself. The race control team have spoken. And And Steel is still on the hunt, as many others have spaced out. Ooh, a bit of contact there as Powsland and Steel get a little bit too dicey on the edge. You can see the incident warnings coming up as they did make a contact. Steel is on the aggressive on the inside through Lukop corner. The timer is going to elapse any minute now. Time is clocking out, and Steel is actually out ahead of Powsland by nearly a second, so good job on him there. But there is a certain driver who has taken the top honours here today. We haven't really given too much attention, but that's because he's just been running his own field. It's his track and we're all just running in it. Wrench takes the checkered flag for round 6 here in Kyalami and does so in fervent style. Very nicely done there, as well as that Vernon Higgs. He's had a bit of a quiet one to himself, but has affirmatively controlled that P2 spot start to finish. Vernon Higgs in the number 50 takes your second place position here on the track, and although a little bit beaten up and a little bit worse for wear, closely followed by Ryan Worley, it's going to be Ethan Lee taking your third spot on the podium and keeping yourself in good check. Worley is going to be in that beautiful KFC car, practically untouched. George Biel now coming through into P5 as some of the others on the field are finishing all the same. Glenberry is going to be a little bit further behind in P6. You can see Davidson on the prior lap now finishing as well. So nicely done, he's into P5. Glenberry into P6. And then you're going to have Jack Lemon. He's going to be alongside Powsland. Both of them going to give each other a little bit of a fun drag race. And oh no, no. You went too wide through Cheetah Corner. You know exactly what happens. A bit of a painful end, unfortunately, for Powsland's run. Luckily, the others have finished already, so he's not going to have to deal with much of an issue in terms of position. But Dingo going to be one of the last to come through alongside Powsland in P8. And then it's King, Lua, Farrier, Davidson, Steele, Powsland finally coming across the line, and then followed closely by Gladwell and Fitton. So, I want to say always thank you very much for watching, folks. We have got, unfortunately, to end fairly sharply, but it has been an absolute pleasure as always. As the session draws to a close, it's been amazing, and do stick around, of course, because we have got next time out, same time next week, it's the Hungaroring, so you'll want to be there for that, and we will see you all next time. Thank you for watching, and good night.